unspoken yet felt, Jimin and Jungkook's journey begins. Without a press conference, without a long statement, and without many words, Jimin and Jungkook again made the world seem to stop for a moment. The two BTS members are seen embarking on their journey, a step that is visually simple, but full of meaning for millions of fans around the world. There were no exaggerated official announcements, just snippets of moments that slowly spread and instantly thrilled the ARMY. This departure is not just a move from one place to another. There are feelings left behind, there are emotions hanging in the air. Jimin and Jungkook walked side by side, their facial expressions calm, but seemed to hold thousands of unspoken stories. In silence, the two display a bond that has been established for years, a bond that does not need to be explained in words. For fans, their every step counts. Jungkook's relaxed yet caring manner, while Jimin seemed warm and gentle as ever, became a symbol of togetherness that had gone through various phases, trainee days, the peak of global popularity, to reflective periods of respite. This trip seems to be a continuation of the long story they have written together with BTS. Not a few soldiers felt a mixture of emotions, pride, emotion, and longing. Although this trip marks the beginning of a new chapter, it also reminds that time is running out. However, as Jimin and Jungkook have always shown, distance is not a separator, but rather a space to grow and return with a stronger version of oneself. On social media, excitement flooded the timeline. Many expressed their feelings with simple but meaningful sentences, prayers, support, and hope that this journey will bring good. Some write that they will wait, others believe that Jimin and Jungkook's togetherness is an unwritten promise that is always kept. This journey may begin without words, but its impact is felt all over the world. Jimin and Jungkook once again proved that their presence is never extraordinary. In quiet steps, they bring hope, memories, and love from millions of hearts that continue to follow, even from separation. And when the plane finally takes off, what is left is not only longing but also faith. That one day this journey will end in a reunion, with a new story, the same smile, and a bond that never fades, unspoken yet always felt. It is at this point that the journey becomes more than a departure. It becomes a transformed symbol of trust, that whatever they are going through right now is part of a process that must go through. Jimin and Jungkook never really left their fans, they just walked a little further to come back with a deeper story. The silence that accompanied their steps was the loudest. There is no publicly spoken promise, no certainty of a set time. However, from the look in their eyes and the calm attitude they showed, there was an implicit belief that all would be well, that every journey has a purpose, and every temporary separation harbors the hope of a reunion. For the ARMY, waiting is nothing new. Waiting has become part of love itself, love that does not demand, does not force, only faithfully stands in its place. Jimin and Jungkook's departure is a reminder that true support is not always realized by physical presence, but by prayer that accompanies every step of the way. As time passes, this moment will be remembered as one of the small pieces of their great journey. Maybe one day, Jimin and Jungkook will come together with a light smile, as if all the feelings of emotion that are now felt are just part of an old story. But for fans, these moments will always have a place of their own, a reminder that true friendship is never bound by distance. And when that day comes, as they step back home, the world will welcome them with an equally warm cheer. Because in the end, this journey is not about leaving, but about coming back. With a dream that matures, a heart that gets stronger, and a bond that remains intact, as it was from the beginning. Unspoken, yet always felt, it will continue until the time they meet again. In the end, this trip will be remembered not so much for the distance, as for the feelings it left behind. Jimin and Jungkook walked away without much noise, but the traces were clearly felt in the hearts of those who followed them. Each step as if carries a message that is not spoken, but understood by millions of fans who have grown up with them over the years. The silence that accompanied the departure was precisely a space for hope. It is there that prayers are delivered, faith is nurtured, and longing slowly turns into strength. There is no certainty when the time will reunite, but the belief that the day will come feels so real, because the bond that is built is never fragile by distance, nor diminished by time. For Jimin and Jungkook, this journey is part of the process of becoming their fuller selves. For ARMY, it's a reminder that loving also means giving space. Space to grow, space to learn, and space to come back with a deeper story than ever before. In silence, all parties learn about patience and constancy. And when one day their names will again be called together on one stage, this moment will be an unforgettable setting. a chapter that may feel heavy when lived, but beautiful when remembered, because any temporary separation always keeps promises about meeting, about being together, and about an unfinished story. Until then, Jimin and Jungkook's steps will continue, accompanied by prayers that never break, unspoken but felt, invisible yet believable, and in every second of waiting, love is kept alive, faithfully waiting, unconditionally, indefinitely. And when the night closes the day of departure, what remains is not only calm, but a sense of trust. Believe that what they are going through is part of a big story that is still being written. Jimin and Jungkook may have stepped out of sight, but they never completely disappeared from the memories and hearts of those who waited. Time will go on as usual, the days will again meet the routine, but in between their names will still be called, songs will still be played, and memories will live on. Each note serves as a reminder that being together is not always about standing in the same place, but about walking in the same direction, albeit from different distances. This waiting is not space but space. Space to yearn, to hope, and to believe that the next meeting will feel more meaningful. Because when longing is allowed to grow patiently, it will turn into complete happiness when it finally pays off. One day, when the step is back towards home, all the restrained taste will find the answer. The once delayed cheer will echo louder, the long-missed smile will feel warmer, and the moment of departure, which now feels quiet, will be remembered as an important part of the journey to a more mature togetherness. Until that day comes, Jimin and Jungkook walk by their story while the fans wait faithfully. Unspoken but felt, invisible yet real. And at the end of this wait there is always one conviction that never wavered. The story is not over, it is just a pause waiting for the right time to resume. At the end of this story no goodbye is said. There is only a tacit belief that each step has its own meaning. Jimin and Jungkook chose to walk without much noise, as if to teach that not everything needs to be announced to be felt. This is where their strength is most evident. Night after night will pass, the seasons will change, and the world will move on. But among those changes, one thing stands out: trust. Believe that the bond built from dreams, hard work, and being together will not collapse just because of distance. It actually strengthens, grows slowly, and waits for the right time to shine again. For those who wait, this wait is not a burden. It becomes the most sincere form of love, a love that demands no presence, does not question time, and does not ask for immediate certainty. Enough love with the conviction that what awaits is worth fighting for. And later, as this story continues, this moment of departure will be remembered with a small smile. Not as a wound, but as part of a journey towards the best version of themselves. Because every pause always carries meaning, and every journey always holds a purpose. Until then, Jimin and Jungkook's steps will continue on their respective paths, while millions of hearts walk together in prayer. Unspoken but felt, invisible but present, and in the end, there is always one simple belief that continues to live: what began sincerely will return beautifully.